on the slate last Saturday. The Saints will start off with the defeat my Seattle Dragons 23 to 16. Seattle lost to 1-3. Then we go on Josh's Houston Roughnecks, Dallas Renegades 27-21, and Tampa Bay Vipers get a huge win, 25-9. And I'm trying to figure out, guys, what is going on with the DC Defenders. Cardale Jones haven't looked good. The defense hasn't looked good. They've lost their last two. I don't know if these guys can rebound. Well, let's take a look at week 5. Let's look at see who they play on the schedule. See if they can get a win. But we'll go over the first game on Saturday at 2 o'clock. My Seattle Dragons at Houston Roughnecks. That's the NXT loss. Then we come on at 5 p.m. Oh, by the way, Saturday, May 7th, 2 p.m. on ABC for Seattle. Then at 5 p.m. that same Saturday on the Fox, it's the New York Guardians, Renegades. Then we move on to Sunday. These Defenders will be at home against the St. Louis Battlehawks. That's going to be, I don't know, with the way DC is playing and the way Seattle has been lights out as of late, that's going to be kind of interesting to see if the Defenders have a little bit bite as the competition steps up. So we'll see. They can't. They're gonna have to get this win. And St. Louis has been playing extremely well. So let's see just who beats who. All right, let's go into our power rankings for week 5.
Sorry it took me so long, here. Will. I was having some laptop issues.
What's up, man?
Not much.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. My laptop was not wanting to cooperate with me.
I've been there before. I've been there, done
all right,
that
before. So you got started. What a great
I went ahead
and
got started.
For, man. What a great week 4.
I wanted to go over some of these games with you from week 4, preview some of the games in week 5, go over the standings, and I know you had some news you want to talk about also. So let's go ahead and start on Saturday slate from week 4. The Wildcats versus the Guardians. The Guardians get a 3-point win. What you think about that game?
It was a good game. Guardians finally looked like a pretty good football team again. I finally got my wish. McGloin did not play.
Not about you.
I'm sorry. He has left a very bad taste in my mouth.
Yes.
So Guardians look good. I really hope. I heard a little bit of news today that they're looking at relocating 3 teams to different stadiums next season.
Why?
Guardians being one of them, relocating them to smaller stadiums. Guardians being one, because they had, what was it? I think it was like 16,000 people at MetLife on Saturday, but it looked empty. It looked really bad.
MetLife is kind of big, though.
It's huge. It is the biggest XFL stadium by far. MetLife fits, I think, something like 80,000 people for football games. And so that is the one thing that I think XFL really messed up on. Red Bull Stadium is like 10 minutes from MetLife, holds 25,000.
That would have looked better.
And that's where they're looking to move them.
Yep.
But it's them, LA, and Dallas.
Okay.
But we'll talk about Dallas here in a second because I went to the game this weekend, so we'll talk about that here
Yes,
in a second.
I gotta get your
But
experience. I gotta get your experience from that. But I want to ask you a question. What is going on with this Heckle and Hyde, Wildcats?
I don't know, man. I'm I'm wanting to really kind of blame the coaching. That coach is like a stone wall, man. He gives no emotion whatsoever. Even when they won 2 weeks ago and they dumped the bucket on him, he
Yep.
just stood there.
Yep.
And like I watched the after and he was dropping some F-bombs in the locker room after the game.
His
Like,
F-bombs were none compared to mine because the DC Defenders wet the bed. Cardale Jones is my fantasy starter. Oh yeah, we'll get to that later. But those F-bombs that he had were nothing compared to mine. Trust believe. Trust believe.
yeah, those defenders, man.
Ooh.
Talk about a like just exploded on the bed.
Implosion, man. And you heard them complaining. You supposed to run the goal. Why you running this?
You need to bench that wide receiver. Yeah, it was that game was interesting. I wasn't expecting a lot out of DC, but a shutout was not what I was expecting.
Me either. But let's move on. Let's head over to the second Saturday game. The St. Louis Battlehawks get a close one, but they get the victory 23-16 over my Seattle Dragons. Dragons fall to 1-3. Lost our last two. Bruh.
But I have to give your Dragons a little bit of props.
They play
Y'all
better.
look good towards the end.
They play better.
When you pulled out Brandon Silvers and put in Daniels looked good. I was impressed with Daniels. Yep. I definitely think he gets the start this week because of that performance. He deserves a shot. Silvers has shown, I think that he's just not the guy.
I heard someone say he's the Seattle savior. Hold up now. Let's get a win first.
I mean, he was 5 for 10, 100 yards and a touchdown.
But he looked
That's
he looked
terrible better. 5 for 10. He had a 50% for not a whole lot of game. He had a passer rating of 79. It's not terrible.
Not terrible at all.
I mean, and so I'm excited, but I mean, they're going to lose this week because they're playing my 4-0 Roughnecks.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. But the Battlehawks in this game look really, really good.
Yes, they did. I heard a lot of people already talking it, and I'm kind of feeling it too. Houston Battlehawks championship. Both these teams are looking good. Congratulations, Jordan Ta'amu, for being the first non-Roughnecks player to win Player of the Week.
Yep.
And he still almost lost out to the entire Roughnecks defense. He was like beat them by like 10, like God, it was like 10%. It was very close. He looked good. Their run game looked good. The Dome, man, those fans in the Dome just killing it. Another 27,000 people out.
Yep.
They're opening the Upper Bowl this weekend.
Yep.
In Seattle and in Houston.
Yep.
So, I'm excited to see how Seattle keeps clicking. We play them next week.
Next
week 6.
Yeah, week 6.
So I hope they keep clicking because I'm excited. Our last game together was real good. I'm excited to have another one. But we played them in Seattle.
Yep.
Or St. Louis.
All right. So, let's move it over to the next game. This was Sunday's game. A game that you attended. The Roughnecks versus the Renegades.
This game.
Tell us about your experience there and what you thought about the game.
Oh, man. I got to say, I've heard it. A bunch of people have been talking about it. going to a live game is an experience. It was more of an experience than I would say an XFL game. One, we sat right in the bar area of uh the Ranger Stadium of Globe Life. Didn't even go to my seats. Had an amazing view of the end zone, right on the corner of the end zone, right by the
Wow.
Jumbotron. It was
Really?
just yes. Saw I was literally 50 feet from Holly when he scored that touchdown. 50 feet.
Wow.
Um, it was crazy. It was an amazing experience. 18,000 fans. Just the park looked great. I could definitely see why they're looking at moving it.
Mm.
But we had a great time. Great time. It was an amazing experience, and I would definitely go again.
Let me ask you
I
this.
want to yeah.
I want to ask you this. Did PJ the true Walker? Did he look?
He
I don't
looked a
know.
little shaky. He
Well,
didn't
his overall stature that you saw is he a big dude, a small
He's
dude, a
not.
smaller
He's a
guy?
small dude. He's a small dude.
Okay,
He's a small, especially small for a quarterback.
okay,
Built kind of like Lamar Jackson, Deshaun
mm,
Watson-ish, maybe
just
even a little
shorter.
shorter.
Okay.
He's definitely not a big dude. You know whose stature surprised me is Cam Phillips. He's
Mm,
a big dude.
really?
He's stocky
Mm,
and pretty tall. He's got to be like 6'4", something like that. Um, but that was the one thing about this game. PJ never got the bomb. He never
mm,
really got a good deep ball behind
mm,
him. Don't get me
mm,
wrong, he still looked good. He still looked like MVP material. He had
mm,
several good possessions and scored a 3-point conversion at one point, and
mm,
Houston's defense had their first turnover for a touchdown. That was cool.
mm, mm.
And it was just a great game. I'll tell you, it was one of the crazier games though I'd seen. Landry Jones is out for at least 2 weeks with a torn MCL. And did you hear about the offensive coordinator?
No.
Cap was running down the sidelines,
Oh
got
yeah, broke
hit
his
into
leg.
his sideline, broke the
Yeah, broke his
OC's
leg.
leg, and the OC
Yeah,
called
I did hear
plays for
about
another
that.
2 quarters. Like that's
Yeah.
hardcore. That's hardcore right there,
And
man.
excuse me, he ain't no punk.
Um,
He
the
ain't no
one thing
punk.
I
He
wish
stayed out there and coached.
is I wish I'd have hung out a little bit afterwards. I saw a lot of fans hung out and got to meet a lot of the Roughnecks to get some signs and stuff like that.
Wow.
But
You could have got
th-
PJs.
yeah, I saw a lot of people got Hollies, which
Mm,
he is impressive. He
mm,
is an impressive player. Um, so Dallas is definitely going to take a hit from that. Losing Landry for another 2 games.
yep.
But Houston again looked good, but I will say it was not one of our cleanest wins. There was just
But
some things that just didn't. The defense looked a little shaky. Even PJ looked a little shaky. Like I said, I kept watching for that deep ball to Cam. I
mm,
never saw that this game.
wow.
I think it was the first game where I hadn't seen just that bomb to Cam.
Do you credit
Um,
a bad game or was that the Renegades defense?
I think the Renegades defense, and I'll credit the Renegades fans too. They're loud.
Mm.
They're loud. And there were a few times I thought I was going to get my butt kicked. I gotta say, because we're sitting down there, and I mean Landry Jones the first quarter threw 3 interceptions back to back to back,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
I cheered louder each time it happened, and I every time got some evil eyes. But it was an amazing experience. Definitely want to go and do it in Houston, get that experience.
I want
Um,
to ask you too. I want to ask you too. Now that you've seen him live, what is the Roughnecks Achilles heel?
they're a pretty complete team. I gotta say, if I don't know if they have Achilles heel per se. If I had to say a weak spot, defense. There was a lot of times they'd have them on third down and they'd let Landry get a good pass and get fourth down. And that's kind of what caused Dallas to kind of be able to stay into that game. And then also those 3 interceptions that we got, we converted 2 of them for points, but those were field goals.
Right.
So we need, and that's kind of been an issue all season, is we're good at getting those turnovers, but we're not always good at turning them into points.
Right. Go score off of them. Exactly.
Other than that, man, I was right on the side of our sideline. They look great. I got to tell you, though, I watched Connor Cook just on the sidelines, just throwing. I was like, why hasn't someone picked this guy up? And I went with one of my brother's friends, and he's like, so they can still have a good quarterback on backup in case something happens with PJ, which I'm all for. But you and me, we're fans of the league. We want everybody playing well.
Right.
And it just kills me to see this great QB just rotting on the bench when you got teams like Seattle and Tampa that need these good quarterbacks. And something I'm going to bring up a little bit later before we end is because the XFL has been asking about players you want to see. I got 2 quarterbacks that came to my mind that I want to talk to you about. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay. And then let's go over this last game. This last game, let me tell y'all.
Oh, man.
This last game had me swearing up and down at
you
work.
You got to give credit where credit's due.
I'm not saying you don't.
Congratulations, Vipers, on your first win.
Look, I'm not saying you don't. But at the same point, the miscommunication, Cardell not looking good, the defense, no pass rush, no aggressive, not being aggressive, the secondary not doing its job.
Saying all
are the DC defenders? Are they frauds?
Is this the same team? Yeah. That's the thing. Or is this team only capable of winning at home?
I think
Tampa needed a win like this. Like after going 0-3, Tampa needed this win. Now, and I hope and pray they keep this momentum because they need to keep it. They need to keep it moving. But
ugly ass uniforms. But other than that,
it's not necessarily that they played fantastic. They played like they've been playing all year.
That's true.
Now, their one benefit is they were getting it in the end zone. Finally, they finally found the end zone. But the stats were the same. We've talked about it every week. They are a stat team. They're a good stats team. This week they finally were able to put it in the end zone and put the touchdown and the stats together and get a win.
Yep.
But wasn't necessarily that they played great. DC just crapped the bed. Like in 2 weeks in a row now, they have done this.
Yep.
And I was a little disappointed in my boy Cardell and then I know the XFL is a little different and that we hear these grievances that are probably happen on the sidelines all the time in professional sports. We're just not used to hearing it.
Right.
But man, you're mic'd up and you're going to say, you need to bench that wide receiver coach. I'm like, man.
Oh my goodness.
That's a little bit. You're getting into McGloin area there.
McGloin territory. Yep.
But I think Cardell's just frustrated. And truly, though, in difference there is when McGloin did that, I truly believed he was blaming his entire team and not himself.
Right.
I think Cardell was frustrated with himself and maybe taking it out on someone else.
Yeah.
And I think he'll realize that. And I think he'll work hard this week. Like I said, they're back home.
Mm-hmm.
They need a win, though.
Yeah.
They need a win.
Well, right now I'm looking at the offensive leaders. And right now, the truth is about to hit 1,000 yards passing for the season.
I'm telling you right now, we might as well just go ahead and call it MVP.
Might as well.
Because
he's at least 100 and what? He's 111 yards better than Jordan Ta'amu. And he's on his track too.
Yeah. And I mean, you almost call it, we're halfway through the season and this boy's just killing it. He is. And in like every week you think, okay, this is going to be the week where he just doesn't play quite. And I will say this past week, like I said, it wasn't the PJ we'd seen the past 3 weeks.
Right.
He wasn't connecting with Cam like he had. It just wasn't clicking right. I'm hoping going back home will get them back into more of a, because this is they barely hit the over this week, barely, which they've been hitting every week. They've been the only team that has been hitting it.
Right.
It was a little bit of low scoring game than I thought it was going to be, but
they got the win.
I'm excited for week 5, man.
They got the
halfway
win.
Through.
They got the win.
They did. They got that
win,
dub.
So they got the dub. Let's move on to week 5. First game on the docket, 2 p.m. Saturday, ABC. Seattle Dragons at Houston Roughnecks. Yeah, we already know what's going to happen there. No. But you never know, because with Tampa Bay, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
We didn't see that coming.
I kind of saw Tampa Bay coming in the fact how they played well in week 3. DC did not. I thought there was a chance that the Vipers at home could take DC. Did I think it would be a 27-0 shutout? Heck no. 25-0 shutout. But I've already seen the post. Oh, well, I predict the Dragons upset the Roughnecks.
Don't see it. I don't see it. And you know why I don't see it? I don't see it because of their defense.
It's not even just defense, man. Houston's at home. They're opening the upper bowl. The bottom bowl is just like 98% sold out. So they're expecting 18,000 plus. Houston's playing really, really well. I know the fan base is getting really, really pumped. I could see 20,000 plus at this game. The Houston fan base is really wanting to try and push St. Louis level numbers. Like, I've seen tons of posts about it. I don't know if they get that this weekend, but I think they break 20,000 at least.
Yeah, me too.
So I think the fans, the team will be happy to be home after being on the road the last 2 weeks. I see a really dominant performance.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I see Seattle getting dragged up and down that field.
I don't see Seattle having a shot. I really don't.
I know a lot of people after that game on Sunday that went to that game went straight home and bought tickets to this game.
Wow. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the next game that will be at 5 p.m. Eastern on Fox. The New York Guardians versus the Dallas Renegades. What are you thinking, man? That's a toughie.
It's a toughie. They're both 2-2. New York is coming off a big win, but New York can only seem to win at home. Dallas coming off a big loss at home, hasn't won a game at home yet. I think I'm gonna just because but then again, you're without Landry Jones, so Nelson's gonna be starting. I truly believe this game could go either way.
It's a toss-up.
It's a tough one. These two, I think even in the power rankings, these two are like neck and neck. I think what really plays the factor is who ends up starting for New York. Is it going to be McGloin or is it going to be the guy who started last week? Personally, I think McGloin needs to ride that pine a little bit longer. But this one's a toss-up, but I think I got to give it to the Renegades.
I do too. You just don't know what you're gonna see from there. At least you know a game plan. You know how the Renegades are gonna play. You know how
Bob
they're gonna
Stoops
script.
can put in another QB and still win that game. Philip Nelson's not bad. He's not Landry Jones, but Landry hasn't been playing fabulous. Like I said, he had 3 picks in the first quarter of last week's game. He's definitely got some rust from not playing football for a while. So I don't know. I think it could go either way, but I think I see Dallas edging this one out.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move into week 5 on Sunday, March the 8th at 3 p.m. FS1. The St. Louis Battlehawks versus the DC Defenders. Do the Battlehawks keep running through, or do the DC Defenders rebound and get a win? What you think, man?
This is another toughie for me because we talked about it. Battlehawks are playing some good football.
They
Jordan
are.
Ta'amu's looking good. They got a good
Both
run.
sides of the ball.
They got a good run game going. Their defense is looking good.
Matt Jones is second in the league in rushing.
Yeah. On that other hand, if DC comes off with that chip, they're back home after 2 weeks. They've just had 2 brutal losses on the road.
And embarrassed on
TV. They got embarrassed on TV. They know they need a big win if they want to stay in the hunt as far as playoffs.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a lot got to be running through a lot of these teams' heads. The Roughnecks have basically already clinched. Like 1 more win and we're guaranteed a playoff spot. 2 more, I think. Give us week 6. But like that's what teams got to be thinking. Playoff clinching is going to start happening in the next couple of weeks. So I think I'm going to give this one to DC as long as they come out with a giant chip and understand they're at home in front of their fans. They need to dominate.
Oh yeah, they do. In order to establish the faith back.
But I could easily see the Battlehawks going in there and just
handling business. I'm going with the Battlehawks. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going with the Battlehawks. Yeah. They just look better.
That's one of those games. Better. Like I almost can't pick because it could easily go either way.
Right.
Even more than the Renegades Guardians game. I could see because just the Battlehawks have just been so dominant. Their only loss has been to us, and we're 4-0.
Yep. Exactly.
I tell you, this next game though, I'm going to set this up because this is actually this game right here. One. This game right here is actually, other than my Houston game, this game right here, I think has potential to be the game of the week. Tampa Bay looked great this past week. They looked great. LA without Spruce and without Cartier, they were hurting last week. Yeah. So Spruce and Cartier aren't in this week. I think Vipers take another one.
And right now, it's 9 p.m. Eastern, ESPN.
Oh man, that's late
Sunday night football.
Yeah. On Sunday night football on ESPN. Wow.
ESPN, that's right.
That's a good time. Like that's
a good time,
prime time football.
That's a good time. And I agree with you. Tampa Bay could take this.
Yeah. The Wildcats, the fans have not been showing up. Unfortunately. I mean, they haven't been terrible, but they just haven't been great.
Wildcats,
Vipers are gonna be. They're feeling good. They just got that first $100,000 bonus check. They want that next one. Like they just like, ooh man, we like that money. So they want that second $100,000 bonus check in a row.
They've been moving the ball up and down
the field. And this past week, they figured out how to get in the end zone. It continues. I'm still not huge on the Vipers. Mark Trustman isn't showing me a whole lot. I think he's kind of messing up the whole Flower situation. But they got it done this week, and I think they're going to get on against LA again. Unless Spruce and Carter play. If Spruce and Carter play,
I got
LA
LA
could
if they play.
easily run through Vipers.
I got LA winning if they play.
Yeah. That's what honestly killed LA this week is Josh Johnson just didn't have any targets.
Nope.
Because his two best were out.
All right. But I do still think Tampa Bay, you need to fix your uniforms. Fix them.
Man, but you know, it's kind of split because I hear some people like, man, I love those Tampa Bay uniforms. They're the coolest. They're the coolest uniforms.
Oh, my goodness.
So, few things as news. We already discussed Landry Jones is out at least 2 weeks. The OC for Dallas is a badass.
Yeah, he is.
I heard today Quentin Flowers is returning to the Vipers, but he is requesting a trade.
Don't blame him.
I don't know if they give it to him. I don't know what is the issue between him and Mark Trestman, but there's definitely some issue there.
Trestman could be an ass about it.
He could be being an ass about it. I don't know what the issue is there. I don't know why Trestman refused to ever give Flowers a start. But Flowers is a good QB who could be QBing for someone like Seattle who needs a QB. Just there's a few things there that just puzzle me, but we'll see. The other news I heard we kind of discussed was LA, New York, Dallas are being looked at for new stadiums next year to just that are smaller, look better on television.
Yep.
TDECU looks amazing on television. The Dome in St. Louis looks amazing on television. Seattle Dragons look amazing on television. But after that, some of these stadiums are looking empty. And I realized the MetLife game this weekend, it was snowing. This is a new league. It was a Saturday afternoon. I probably would not have been at that game. So I understand that. Though some of what worries me a little bit are the ratings are continuing to slide, but they actually didn't really slide much this week. It seems like they're kind of steadying out, and we're still doing way better than what the AAF did last year on the NFL Network.
Yep.
I think truly too, I think some of the ratings are being affected because it's just so easy to go. It's just so cheap and easy to go to a game. But
that's the downside of being in an NFL city. They will go travel.
Yeah.
They will go and travel in these NFL cities. They'll go see whatever team they want to support. And that's kind of like catch-22. We want you at the games, but we also need the ratings.
Well, we also need you watching the games.
Right.
So we'll see about that. I'm trying to think, did I see any other news? I'm excited now that the combine is over to see. I've heard a couple of the guys who think they're going to go higher in the draft are seriously thinking about the XFL. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. In that note, kind of brings me back to my little fantasy booking question I had for you.
Sure,
so I saw a thing about players you want to see in the NFL. And they got to think, and one of the things we constantly talk about is quarterback quality in the XFL. I thought I saw one guy on this list that I agree with, and then he made me think of another guy. Two quarterbacks who I think are good quarterbacks who aren't ever going to be the top guy in the NFL that need to come to the XFL. Brock Osweiler. I think he is an amazing quarterback who never truly got a really good shot. He had too much put on his shoulders. He had a really good season with Denver, and then they brought him over to Houston and expected him just to be the guy to take us to the championship. I think it was just too much for a young guy to take, and he choked under the pressure. I think he would be I still think he's a good quarterback. He's got good skills. I think he could be great in the XFL. Don't agree?
I wouldn't want to see him somewhere with a weak OC.
Yeah, I could agree with that. He has a little bit of a mouth.
Yeah.
He needs someone who's going to put him in his place. He needs a strong coach, who's a strong OC. Truly, Dallas, New York.
That's a big good fit. New York too.
I think New York. I love the coach from New York. He just looks like a no shit taking coach, man.
I let's see him in Seattle.
DC even. I think Pep Hamilton could put him under his thumb. The other one, he's a guy that I have loved ever since he played for U of H. I never felt like he's gotten a fair shake anywhere, and that's Case Keenum. I think
outside of Minnesota.
I'm talking the NFL. Only in the NFL. He's never gotten a fair shake in the NFL. He's had a couple of chances, and he didn't necessarily take those chances and run with them. But I think if he was truly given a starter position and given a chance, I think he would do some amazing things.
Do you think that because I think his best shot in the NFL was when he was with the Vikings?
Probably.
I think that was his best shot. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And then he went on to be with the Redskins, I believe.
He did. And he started for the Redskins a little bit this past year.
He did. I do like Osweiler in the XFL because he hasn't tasted NFL success.
Yeah, he had that one good year with Denver.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Everything else petered out for him. So
I think his issue is he had that good year with Denver, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's the next Tom Brady." Right. And he took all that and he let it go to his head. And then next year, I
do like him in the XFL.
Yeah, I think you give him a strong coach like Kevin Gilbride or Pep Hamilton, someone who's not going to put up with his crap. Right. I like Kevin Gilbride because he's definitely putting up with some prima donna drama in Matt McGloin. So he shows that he could put up with those prima donna quarterbacks. But I thought that was an interesting question. I definitely wanted to get your opinion on that.
I do love Osweiler in the XFL, no matter what team. But like I say, despite his personal needs, just have him in the league period will make the league better because he'll be a very good. I think he'll be a very good quarterback.
Those are the type of QBs that the XFL needs to be looking at. The guys that are good quarterbacks, but they're just not quite NFL material.
Right.
Those are the guys that not only are they good, they have name recognition for a lot of NFL fans, but they'll probably stick around because they know they're never going to be starting in the NFL, but they could start in the XFL.
Right.
So they're the guys that you could probably get to start because as sad as it makes me, PJ Walker is probably headed to the NFL at the end of this season.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him go back to the Colts.
Him, Cam Phillips, Holly, like Houston going to have a hit as far as players.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of that defense, like there are going to be a lot of players from the Houston team getting NFL contracts once the season's over.
Oh, yeah. Particularly Cam. At 6'3", 6'4", woo. I won't be a corner trying to cover that.
Exactly, man. But I mean, it's been a heck of a ride.
What's your average NFL corner, about 5'11", 6 foot.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not tall.
Mm-mm.
You want a guy who's quick and who's got jump. Everybody keeps talking about like Tim Tebow and Johnny Manziel, and I know like they're flashy guys, but really you want those moderate guys in the NFL, the guys who the guy who has been the backup for the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
Those are the guys who are going to come, give you a good show. They still have name recognition, and they'll stick around.
Right.
Unless they just come in and kill it and do get that contract, which should be their dream, like PJ.
Yep.
But
no, Tim Tebow, Johnny Manziel, stay away.
Tebow's going to give it another year. He thinks he's going pro with Major League Baseball this year. He thinks he has a good shot at that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't, maybe 2021 season, depending how baseball goes for him this season. We'll see, but I wouldn't hold my breath. And Oliver Luck isn't going to put up with Johnny Manziel's crap, so I don't ever see that happen. And they're never going to pay Kaepernick what he wants, so that ain't happening.
No.
And truly, those three guys just come with so much outside. The only one of those three that I'd really like to see would be Tebow.
And if you play in the XFL, you're doing it for two reasons. You do it because you love the game, and you also do it to try to get back. If you were there before, you try to get back.
It's your second chance. It's meant to be taken as a second chance and to be cherished and to give it the full effort that the second chance deserves.
Yep.
I'm excited. I listened to a conversation Oliver Luck had this week. They seem like they're very pleased so far with this first season, and they seem like they know the things that they need to look at. I think they're going to try and move teams to smaller stadiums before moving teams to different cities altogether. I don't think you'll see any teams move different cities this next time, maybe in year 3. I just think smaller stadiums is a good idea because you look at like St. Louis, Seattle, Houston, they're all doing great, all opening up more space.
Yep.
And I tell you, I got to say this, man, the XFL fans can tailgate. Dang.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I see pictures and then I experienced it in Dallas this week. I really want to go to Houston and experience it. Those boys could tailgate, man.
Wow.
Cool. But I'm excited. We're coming into week 5, halfway through. Like playoffs contention is really starting to come into it. We're coming down to the wire, man. Like a little more than a month left in the regular season. And teams really got to be thinking about it. They got to realize that Houston's about to like only 2 or 3 games away from clinching that number 1 seed. And Houston's definitely the team to beat. Now, we got to close out, I know, here shortly. One last question for you. Does Houston go undefeated?
No. And
the only reason why I say that,
now that they're established. You didn't know what they were when the season started.
Yeah.
But now they're established. So everybody's going to start giving them their best game. And it's hard to get up each and every week to keep up that same momentum, that same energy. That's tough.
I agree. You got Seattle this week, and then you got the Battlehawks again, who have already taken a loss to us. They're going to come. We got to go to them this time.
Yep.
That's the game I'm worried about.
Yeah, you might lose.
Truly.
They might lose.
I won't say that, but I'm definitely nervous because that St. Louis crowd, whoo, man.
They got a good team.
But I think that's all I had this week, man. I'm excited to be halfway through it. It's been a hell of a run so far. I think it's going to be another good weekend of football. We're coming into some cool, interesting spots. Like you said, we got a true Sunday night game in prime time on ESPN this week. The Thursday night games, I think, kick off week 7. So
we got some football for you. And then after the XFL is done, we'll move right into the NFL draft.
Basically, yeah. I think it's like the next weekend.
Yep.
And then you only got 3-4 months, and then NFL's here again.
Yep.
And
more football.
More football.
Football.
I think that's all I had today, man.
All right, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for having us in your living room this week. XFL Huddle Podcast. We'll be back next week, same time, same station. Thank you to the Stables Network for having us. Don't forget to hit us up on Facebook under the XFL Huddle Podcast. Also
on
follow
Twitter
along on Twitter.
Huddle XFL.
Yep. Again, thank you to the Stables Network for having us. Thank you for Brock for being our producer. Appreciate you on that, man. If there is nothing else, thank you guys for having us. We'll see you again next week. Take care.